UCS Drama presents And Then There Were None, a radio play. Episode 2, The Letters.
Hello, you. Do you two know each other? Dr. Armstrong, Mr. Claythorne. Armstrong and
Yes, I heard you, and so did he, I think.
Brent, isn't it? A remarkably fine night.
Absolutely wizard car. A supercharged Mulati Colota. You don't see many of them on the road. I can get over 100 out of her.
Did you come from London?
Yes. 208 miles and I did it in a bit over 4 hours. Too many cars on the road though to keep it up. Touched 90 going over Salisbury Plain. Not too bad, eh?
I think you passed me on the road.
Oh yes?
I think you drove me into a ditch.
Did I? I'm sorry.
If I'd have seen your number, I'd have reported you.
But you were footling along in the middle of the road.
Footling? Me? Footling?
Oh well. What about a drink?
Good idea.
Good evening, Mr. Owen.
Mr. Owen?
Oh, my mistake. I mistook you for a wealthy businessman.
Well, now we know.
Tell me, what's old Brent talking to the judge about? He tried to corner him upstairs.
I don't know. Funny. He seemed so definite that there wasn't a Mr. Owen.
You don't think that, Mr. Owen?
Damn shame we didn't know each other. I could have given you a lift down.
Yes, that would have been grand.
Tell you what, maybe we can drive back together.
Sorry, Marston, but Mr. Claythorne's already made all arrangements for going back to London.
But
But it seems damn silly. I've got an empty car.
Yes, but he likes the way he's going back.
Look, aren't they sweet? Those 10 little china figurines. Oh, and there's the old rhyme.
What are you talking about? What figurines? What rhyme?
10 little humans going out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little humans sat up very late. One overslept, and then there were 8.
8 little humans travelling in Devon. One got left behind, and then there were 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, silence, please. You are charged with these indictments, that you did respectively at diverse times commit the following. Edward George Armstrong, that you did cause the death of Louisa Mary Cleese. William Henry Braw, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Landor. Emile Carter Brent, that you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. Vernon Eli Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogilvy Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that you were guilty of the deaths of 21 men, members of your own production company. John Gordon Mackenzie, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Coens. Thomas Rogers and Ethan Rogers, that you brought about the death of Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wargrave, that you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seton. Listeners at the bar, do you have anything to say?
Oh, no.
Where is that voice coming from?
Turn it off.
This is some sort of prank, I swear.
Can somebody fix this?
Find the audio
It's
track.
nothing much. He fainted, that's all. He'll be round in a minute.
Who was
Get
that
some brandy.
speaking? It sounded...
Where the devil did that voice come from?
Rogers, get some brandy. Here we are.
Charged with these indictments.
Turn it off. It's horrible.
At the moment, I'm not prepared to give an opinion.
You the devil turned it on though and set it going.
We must inquire into that.
Oh dear me.
Allow me, sir. Allow me,
Drink
sir.
this, Mr. Rogers.
If I may speak to him. Ethan! Ethan! It's alright. Alright, you hear me? Pull yourself together.
Did I think so? It was the voice, the awful voice, like a judgment. I'm all right now. It just gave me a turn.
Who was it who put on that record on the gramophone? Was it you, Rogers?
I was just obeying orders, sir. That's all.
Whose orders?
Mr. Owen's.
Let me get this quite clear. Mr. Owen's orders were what, exactly?
I was to put the gramophone in the study. I'd find the records in the drawer in there. I was to start with that one, sir. I thought it was just to give you all some music.
A very remarkable story.
It's the truth. Before heaven, it's the truth. I don't know what it was, not for a moment. It had a name on it. I thought it was just a piece of music.
Is there a title?
A title? Yes, sir. It's entitled Swan Song.
The whole thing is preposterous. Preposterous! Slinging accusations about like this. Something must be done about it. This fellow Owen, whoever he is.
That's just it. Who is he?
That is exactly what we must go into very carefully. I should suggest that you get your brother to bed, Rogers, then come back here.
He'll be all right. I've given him a sedative.
Don't know about you, sir, but I feel I need another drink.
I agree.
I'll get them.
Preposterous! That's what it is. Preposterous!
Whiskey for you, Sir Lawrence?
I should like a glass of water, please.
Yes, I'll get it. I'll have a whiskey too.
Now then, Doctor, you want a drink after all this?
No, thank you.
Have this one, General. Now then, Rogers, we must get to the bottom of this. Tell us what you know about Mr. Owen.
He owns this place, sir.
I am aware of that fact. What I want you to tell me is what you yourself know about the man.
I can't see, sir. You see, I've never met him.
What do you mean you've never seen him?
We've only been here just under a week, sir. My brother and I. We were engaged by a letter through a registry office. The Regina in Plymouth.
It's a high-class firm. We can check up on it. Have you got the letter?
The letter engaging us? Yes, sir.
Go on with your story.
We arrived here, like the letter said, on the 4th. Everything was in order. Plenty of food in stock, and everything was nice. Just needed dusting and that.
What next?
Nothing, sir. That is, we got orders to prepare the rooms for a house party for 8. Then yesterday, by the morning post, I got another letter saying Mr. and Mrs. Owen might be detained. And if so, we was to do the best we could and gave the instructions about dinner and putting on the gramophone record. Here it is, sir.
Headed Ritz Hotel and typewritten.
Coronation machine number 5. Quite new, no defects. Enzyme paper, most common make. We shan't get much out of this. We might try fingerprints, but it's been handled too much.
Quite the little detective.
I think the time has come for us all to pool our information. It would be well for everybody to come forward with all the information they have regarding our unknown host. We are all his guests. I think it would be profitable if each one of us were to explain exactly how that came about.
There's something very peculiar about this. I received a letter with a signature that was not very easy to read. It purported to be from a woman whom I'd met at a certain summer resort 2 or 3 years ago. I took the name to be Ogden. I'm quite certain I've never met or become friendly with anyone of the name Owen.
Have you got the letter?
Yes, I will fetch it for you.
I never actually met Mr. Owen. I wanted a holiday post and I applied to his secretarial agency, Miss Grenfell's in London. I was offered this post and accepted.
And you were never interviewed by your prospective employer?
No. This is the letter.
Indian Island, Sticklehaven, Devon. I've received your name from Miss Grenfell's agency. I understand she knows you personally. I shall be glad to pay you the salary you ask and shall expect you to take up your duties on August the 8th. The train is 12:40 from Paddington and you will be met at Oakbridge Station. I enclose £5 for your expenses. Yours truly, Una Nancy Owen. Thank you. Dr. Armstrong?
In the circumstances, I think I may admit that my visit here was professional. Mr. Owen wrote that he was worried about his wife's health, her nerves, to be precise. He wanted a report without being alarmed. He therefore suggested that my visit should be regarded as that of an ordinary guest.
You had no previous acquaintanceship with the family?
No.
But you had no hesitation in obeying the summons.
A colleague of mine was mentioned, and a very handsome fee suggested. I was due for a holiday anyway.
Dear Mr. Brent, I hope you do remember me. We were together at Belhaven Guest House in August some years ago, and we seem to have so much in common. I'm starting a guest house of my own on an island off the coast of Devon. I think there is really an opening for a place where there is good plain English cooking and a nice old-fashioned type of person. None of this antisocial and gramophones half the night. I should be very glad if you could see your way to spending your summer holiday on Indian Island, as my guest, of course. I suggest the 8th, 12:40 from Paddington to Oakbridge. Yours sincerely, U.N. Yes, the signature is slightly ambiguous.
I like the antisocial touch.
Here is my own decoy letter. From an old friend of mine, Lady Constance Comington. She writes in her usual vague, incoherent way, urges me to join her here, and refers to her host and hostesses in the vaguest of terms.
Look here, I've just thought of something.
In a minute, we will take one thing at a time, if you don't mind. Mr. Lombard, Mr. Mackenzie?
Got a letter from this fellow, Owen. Thought I must have met him sometime at the club. Mentioned some old cronies of mine who are to be here. Hoped I'd excuse the informal invitation. Haven't kept the letter, I'm afraid.
And you, Mr. Lombard?
Same sort of thing. Invitation mentioning mutual friends. I haven't kept the letter either.
Just now we had a somewhat disturbing experience. An apparently disembodied voice spoke to us all by name, uttering certain definite accusations against us. We will deal with those accusations presently. At the moment, I am interested in a minor point. Amongst the names recited was that of William Henry Blore. But as far as we know, there is no one named Blore amongst us. The name of Davis was not mentioned. What have you to say about that, Mr. Davis?
Cat's out of the bag, it seems. I suppose I better admit my name isn't Davis.
You are William Henry Blore?
That's right.
I'll add something to that. Not only are you here under a false name, Mr. Blore, but in addition to that, I've noticed that this evening you are a first-class liar. You claim to have come here from Natal, South Africa. Look, I know South Africa well, and Natal, and I'm prepared to swear that you've never set foot there in your life.
You gentlemen have got me wrong. I'm an ex-CID man.
Oh, a copper.
I've got my credentials and I can prove it. I run a detective agency in Plymouth. I was put on this job.
By whom?
Why, Mr. Owen. Sent a very nice money order for my expenses. And said it was to join the house party, posing as a guest. He also sent a list of all your names, so I was to keep an eye on all of you.
Any reason given?
Said Miss Owen's got some valuable jewels. Miss Owen, my foot. I don't believe there is such a person.
Your conclusions are, I think, justified. You look Norman Owen. You know Nancy Owen. Each time that is to say, U.N. Owen. Or by a light stretch of fancy, unknown.
But it's fantastic, mad.
Oh yes, I've no doubt in my own mind that we have been invited here by a madman. Probably a dangerous homicidal lunatic.
Oh my god.
Whoever it is who has enticed us here, that person has taken the trouble to find out a great deal about us. A very great deal. And out of his knowledge concerning us, he has made certain definite accusations. I wish to say this. Our unknown friend accuses me of the murder of one Edward Seaton. I remember Seaton perfectly well. He came up before me for trial in June 2000. He was charged with the murder of an elderly woman. He was very ably defended and made a good impression on the jury in the witness box. Nevertheless, on the evidence, he was certainly guilty. I summed up accordingly, and the jury brought in a verdict of guilty. The appeal was lodged on the grounds of misdirection. The appeal was dismissed, and the man was duly executed. I wish to say this before you all. that my conscience is perfectly clear on the matter. I did my duty and nothing more. I passed sentence on a rightly convicted murderer.
Did you know Seaton at all? I mean, personally.
I knew nothing of Seaton previous to the trial.
The old boy's lying. I swear he's lying.
I've just been thinking. John and Lucy Coombs. Must have been a couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck.
For them or for you?
Well, I was thinking, for me, but of course you're right, sir. It was damned bad luck for them too. Of course it was pure accident. They rushed out of some cottage or other. I had my licence suspended for a year. Beastly nuisance.
This speeding's all wrong. All wrong. Young men like you are a danger to this community.
Well, I couldn't help it. Just an accident.
Might I just say a word, sir?
Go ahead, Rogers.
There was mention, sir, of me, my brother and Miss Jennifer Brady. There isn't a word of truth in it. We were with Miss Brady when she died. She was always in poor health, sir. Always from the time we came to her. There was a storm, sir, the night she died. The telephone was out of order. We couldn't get a doctor to her. I went for him, sir, on foot. But we got there too late. We'd done everything possible for her, sir. Devoted to her we were. Anyone will tell you the same. There was never a word against us. Never a word.
Came into a nice little something at her death, I suppose, didn't you?
Miss Brady left us a legacy in recognition of our services. And why not, I'd like to know?
What about yourself, Mr. Blore?
What about me?
Your name was on the list.
I know. Lando, you mean. I was the London and commercial bank robbery.
I remember the case, though it didn't come before me. Lando was convicted on your evidence. You were the police officer in charge of the case.
I was, my lad.
Lando got penal servitude for life and died in Dartmoor a year later. He was a delicate man.
He was a crook. It was him what put the night watchman out. Case was clear from the start.
You were complimented, I think, on your able handling of the case.
I got a promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word. Duty. What about you, Doctor?
I'm at a loss to understand the matter. The name meant nothing to me. What was it? Close? Cleese? I can't really remember having a patient of that name. Or it's being connected with a death in any way. The thing's a complete mystery to me. Of course, it is a long time ago. It might have been possible. It might possibly be one of my operation cases in hospital. They came too late. So many of these people. Then, when the patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
And then it's better to take to nerves and give up surgery. Some, of course, give up drink.
I protest. You've no right to insinuate such things. I never touch alcohol.
My dear fellow, I never suggested you did. Anyway, Mr. Unknown is the only one who knows all the facts.
Mr. Claythorne?
I was a carer to Peter Hamilton. We were in Cornwall for the summer. He was forbidden to swim out that far. One day when my attention was distracted, he started off. As soon as I saw what had happened, I swam after him. I couldn't get there in time.
What was the inquest?
Yes, I was exonerated by the coroner. His mother didn't blame me either.
Thank you. Mr. Brent?
I have nothing to say. Nothing. There is no question of defence. I have always acted accordingly to the dictates of my conscience.
What a law-abiding lot we seem to be. Myself excepted.
We are waiting for your story, Mr. Lombard.
I haven't got a story.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry to disappoint all of you. It's just that I plead guilty. It's perfectly true. Matter of self-preservation. After all, self-preservation is a man's first duty.
Our inquiry rests there. Now, Roger, who else is there on this island besides ourselves and you and your brother?
Nobody, sir. Nobody at all.
You're sure of that?
Quite sure, sir.
Thank you. Don't go, Rogers. I'm not yet clear as to the purpose of our unknown host in getting us to assemble here, but in my opinion, he's not sane in the accepted sense of the word. He may be dangerous. In my opinion, it would be well for us to leave this place as soon as possible. Then, I suggest that it would be well if we all left tomorrow morning, as soon as Narcot's boat arrives.
A bit unsporting, what? Ought to ferret out the mystery before we go. Whole thing's like a detective story. Positively thrilling.
At my time of life, I have no desire for thrills.
The legal life's narrowing. I'm all for crime. Here's to it.
My God. He's dead. He died of asphyxiation.
In the midst of life, we are in death.
A man doesn't die of a choking fit. Marston's death isn't what we call a natural death.
Was there something in his whiskey?
Yes, by the smell of it, cyanide. Probably potassium cyanide. Acts pretty instantaneously.
Then he must have put the stuff in the glass himself.
Seems like it.
Suicide, eh? That's a run and go.
You'd never think he'd commit suicide. He was so alive. He was enjoying himself.
To be continued. Tune in to next week to find out more.